5 men. 5 weddings. 5 deaths, all exactly 7 days after they married the same woman. Was she cursed, or was she sent to punish the wicked? This is not just a love story gone wrong, it's a secret buried in Ghana's elite, soaked in blood, betrayal, and spiritual warfare. And tonight, the truth finally comes out. Like, comment and subscribe for more supernatural tales by Kofi. In the upscale streets of East Legon, her name was spoken like a warning. Cindy Owusu. Some said she was a goddess, others swore she was death in heels. At just 29, Cindy had already buried 5 husbands, each one a powerful, well-connected man, and not a single tear had been seen on her flawless face. Cindy wasn't the type to blend in. She was stunning in the kind of way that made both men and women stop in their tracks. Her skin glowed like sun-warmed caramel. Her burgundy-dyed natural hair fell in effortless coils down her back. Her almond-shaped eyes sparkled with a soft danger. And her lips, always painted deep wine, curled into a smile that felt like a secret you weren't supposed to know. She had moved to Accra from Kumasi 3 years ago. No one really knew why. Some whispered she was running from something. Others claimed she had reinvented herself after a tragic past. But what was undeniable was this: since arriving in the capital, Cindy had married and buried 5 different men. And they all died exactly 7 days after the wedding. Her latest victim? Kwame Tay. A 42-year-old millionaire real estate mogul with 3 kids and a controversial past. Known for throwing wild parties and having powerful friends in government, Kwame had shocked everyone when he suddenly announced his marriage to Cindy, a quiet ceremony at a private beach house in Ada. No paparazzi, no media. Just select guests, a few family members, and one glowing bride in a blood-red Kent gown. 7 days later, Kwame was found dead in his jacuzzi. No bruises. No forced entry. No medical explanation. He was smiling when he died, eyes open, mouth slightly parted, as if he'd seen something, or someone. Before Kwame, there was Patrick Amankwa, a 36-year-old banker and the CEO of a fast-growing fintech company. He'd proposed to Cindy after just 6 weeks of dating. A week after the wedding, he collapsed at Labadee Beach. His autopsy: cardiac arrest. But his personal trainer swore he was healthier than ever. Before Patrick, there was Reverend Emmanuel Barr, a charismatic preacher known across Kumasi for his Fire of the Lord crusades. He'd claimed Cindy was heaven-sent. He died in his sleep, clutching his Bible to his chest. The congregation blamed the devil. But some quietly blamed Cindy. And the pattern stretched back further to a university lecturer in Kumasi and a rising politician in Takoradi. All died. All married Cindy. All exactly 1 week after. Social media erupted every time her name trended. #pray for Cindy. #Black Widow of Accra. #cursed or killer. Some bloggers said she was cursed by an old lover. Others claimed she was an Asuor, a spiritual wife sent from the river to claim male souls. TikTokers even created a conspiracy thread mapping her marriages to lunar cycles and deaths of public figures. But Cindy, she never responded. She never posted online. She never granted interviews. She was always at the funerals, dressed in flowing black, sunglasses covering her eyes, body stiff, lips pressed shut. But she never cried. Not once. Until one day, a fearless investigative journalist named Delali Mensah publicly vowed to expose the mystery behind Cindy Owusu. Delali was no ordinary reporter. At 32, she was already a firebrand in the media world, known for blowing the lid off government cover-ups and exposing Accra's deepest secrets on her YouTube show Accra Expose. She wasn't afraid of the occult. She wasn't afraid of politicians. She definitely wasn't afraid of a woman with a mysterious past. In a fiery Instagram live, Delali looked straight into the camera and said, "If no one wants to ask the hard questions about Cindy Owusu, then I will. Accra deserves the truth. The men who died deserve justice. And if I disappear, well, you'll know why." What Delali didn't know was that her obsession with Cindy would not only endanger her life, it would unravel a scandal bigger than she could ever imagine. Because Cindy wasn't just a grieving widow. She was something far more dangerous. And far less human. Delali Mensah didn't scare easily. At 32, she had exposed corrupt MPs, illegal land grabs, and even an underground baby factory in Aburi. Her YouTube series Accra Expose had 500,000 loyal subscribers and a reputation for peeling back the polished surface of Ghanaian society to reveal its most rotting secrets. But this case, it was personal. Because her younger sister had dated one of Cindy's late husbands, Patrick, the banker, and nearly became collateral damage in what Delali now suspected was a serial pattern hidden beneath glossy obituaries and staged grief. Her DMs were flooded with messages the moment she hinted at the Cindy curse. Viewers dared her to dig. Expose her before she finds husband number 6. She's definitely killing them. We just need proof. This isn't a coincidence. Please. Help us understand. Delali started in Kumasi, where Cindy supposedly grew up. Armed with a hidden camera, a fake school transfer letter, and her assistant Kwabena, Delali posed as a relative doing family research. They went to St. Martha's Girls' SHS, the school Cindy was rumored to have attended. The headmistress furrowed her brow. Cindy Owusu? We've had 4 girls with that name over the past decade, but not one matches your photo. Are you sure that's her real name? So Delali tried the WAEC registry. Nothing. No BS or WAS results under Cindy Owusu matching her age or face. Even her birth certificate, sourced from the Kumasi Civil Registry, was filled with gaps. The mother's name field was blank. The father's name was listed as unknown. The date of issue? 2 years ago. Something wasn't adding up. Cindy didn't just have a mysterious past. She had no traceable past at all. Back in Accra, Delali turned to her real weapon, people who worked in the shadows. She arranged a late-night meeting with Abdul, a mortuary technician who had prepped 3 of Cindy's husbands for burial. They met at a chop bar in Dome, away from cameras. Abdul was jittery, looking over his shoulder every few seconds. "You didn't get this from me," he whispered, shoving a folder across the table. Inside were blurred photocopies of medical reports, each one stamped confidential. But what caught Delali's eye wasn't in the text. It was the image attached to Kwame Tay's autopsy, a filtered UV scan of his chest. There was something dark, something unnatural. All of them, Abdul said. Every single one of the men had the same mark right in the center of their chest. Under normal light, nothing. But with UV, it appears. Like a branding. Delali stared at it. A black shape. 3 wings. 3 eyes. A bird. A symbol. We thought it was some medical anomaly. But the mark doesn't appear in standard autopsies. Only under UV. Like it's spiritual. Or something worse. The next day, Delali included the image in her upcoming video teaser. She blurred most of it but left enough to stir curiosity. She titled the episode, "Marked for Death, Who is Cindy Owusu?" Then, the threat started. A blocked number called her 3 times. No one spoke. On the 4th call, a hoarse voice finally said, "Stop digging. Or you'll be next." Click. Her assistant Kwabena urged her to stop. Even her producer told her to focus on safer exposés. But Delali wasn't the type to retreat. That night, she filmed a video for her audience, her face tense, voice calm. "Someone doesn't want us to know the truth. But now I'm more convinced than ever, this isn't just a tragic coincidence. Cindy Owusu is connected to something far more powerful, far more dangerous than we imagined. And I'm not stopping until we uncover it." She paused. Looked dead into the lens. "If anything happens to me, don't trust the headlines. Keep looking. Keep asking. Because the truth is never what it seems." As the video uploaded and her phone vibrated again from a blocked caller, Delali knew this was no longer just a story. This was war. Delali had uncovered secrets before: bribery rings, sex 4-grade scandals, even a fake orphanage fronting as a money laundering hub. But nothing prepared her for what she found when she traced Cindy's roots back to the Ashanti region. It started with an anonymous email. Subject line: "Cindy isn't who she says she is." The message contained 2 things, a blurry childhood photo and a name Akwa Darkoa along with the name of a village, Nyamabakir, buried deep in the Ashanti rainforest. The village wasn't even listed on Google Maps. With nothing but a local fixer and a backpack, Delali took a dusty trotro ride out of Kumasi and rode a motorbike the rest of the way. What she found chilled her to the bone. Naima Bakir was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of place where everyone stared at strangers, and no one spoke unless they absolutely had to. The chief's linguist, a wrinkled man in his 70s, confirmed what Delali had feared. Akua Darkoa was born here, under blood. According to him, Cindy Akua had been born during a blood moon eclipse, a rare cosmic event believed in Ashanti lore to open portals between worlds. Her mother had gone into labor inside a small shrine on the outskirts of the village, alone. The midwife found her screaming, half-conscious, surrounded by broken calabashes and blood that didn't seem entirely human. She died moments after delivering Akua. The baby was silent. No crying. Just wide-open eyes, and a strange birthmark on her back shaped like a bird with 3 eyes, the exact symbol found on the dead husband's chests. "We buried the mother and tried to banish the child," the linguist confessed. But a powerful priest intervened. He said she had been marked by the gods. That she was a vessel. A vessel? For what? No one in the village would say more. In fact, when Delali asked further, an old woman spat on the ground and muttered, "She should have never left here alive." Delali returned to Accra with more questions than answers, but what she found next was worse. A contact from her security team retrieved unreleased CCTV footage from Kwame Te's private residence, hidden footage from his wedding week. Most cameras had been wiped, but one, a faulty motion sensor camera outside the master bedroom, had survived. The footage was clear up to a point. At exactly 11:59 p.m. on the 7th night of Kwame and Cindy's marriage, Cindy appeared on screen barefoot, her burgundy hair loose, wearing a sheer red nightgown. She opened the bedroom door and stepped inside. And then, the camera glitched. Exactly 59 seconds of static. When the feed resumed, Cindy was gone. Kwame was face down, floating in the pool, fully clothed, mouth open in a silent scream. Delali froze the footage. There were no signs of a struggle. No one else entered. Just Cindy. And silence. Determined to trace the red nightgown, Delali scoured Osu's hidden boutiques until she found an old tailor behind a locked wooden shop, tucked between 2 closed chop bars. The tailor, eyes wide and voice trembling, admitted he had made the gown. But not for fashion, he said. For ritual. He claimed a woman had come in months ago with specific instructions. She brought cloth soaked in what she claimed was river water from the underworld. She wanted the nightgown stitched with a special hem, one that matched the folds of traditional burial cloth. She came with a man, the tailor added. A tall, dark man with sunken eyes and a staff carved with human faces. He gave no name, but they call him Kwaku the Shade. That name struck Delali like a slap. She'd heard of it before, whispered in forums discussing elite cults and dark spiritual dealings. A man said to broker pacts between desperate men and unforgiving spirits. A man who, if real, was untouchable. But if Cindy had come with him or worse, worked for him, then this wasn't just a case of mysterious deaths. It was part of something far more ancient. Far more organized. Delali sat alone in her studio that night, the red gown footage paused on her laptop, the tailor's voice still echoing in her head. The dress was never meant for beauty. It was meant for passage. Passage? To where? From whom? And most importantly, who was really pulling the strings? The name Kwaku the Shade wasn't just whispered in dark spiritual corners, it echoed through Accra's wealthiest boardrooms, private golf clubs, and even parliament corridors. At first, Delali thought he was just another rogue spiritualist, the kind that preyed on desperation and sold fake potions to failing businessmen. But the deeper she dug, the darker it got. Kwaku was no con man. He was the high priest of Nsu Foforɔ, the New Waters, a secret society made up of Ghana's elite, politicians, CEOs, judges, oil magnates, pastors, even musicians. The kind of people whose names couldn't be uttered without a threat trailing behind. Nsu Foforɔ wasn't your typical cult. It was a blood-pact network disguised as a brotherhood for enlightenment and ascension. To the public, it looked like just another powerful business network. But at its core, the group dealt in spiritual currency, exchanging loyalty, secrets, and human sacrifices for influence, protection, and impossible wealth. And Cindy? She wasn't an outsider. She was bred by the society. Delali traced Cindy's path back 5 years, where things took a sharp, hidden turn. Cindy, or Akua Darkoa, as her real name confirmed, had once been an obedient member of the society, a spiritual bride meant to serve a specific purpose, to marry and spiritually bind the men who came to the society seeking shortcuts to success. In return for their offerings, blood, oaths, or dark acts, they were promised unstoppable rise, elections, multi-million contracts, immunity from prosecution, and even fertility. But there was one cost: each of them had to marry the vessel. A woman pre-marked by the cult. A woman infused with what Kwaku called the ancestral gate. They thought she was a reward. But she was the final price. The marriages were meant to complete their pact. 7 days after the ritual union, the man's soul would be claimed by the new waters. His wealth would remain, passed on to his lineage or repurposed through the society's pipeline. The man's death wasn't a glitch, it was the contract being fulfilled. But Cindy had changed. 5 years ago, after the third marriage, she tried to run. According to a hidden audio file Delali obtained from a disillusioned cult driver, Cindy had fallen in love with a man outside the system, a simple carpenter named Delali Mensah. They planned to elope and vanish. But Kwaku found out. Kojo's body was discovered in the Volta River with no head and no spine. Cindy was dragged back, beaten, and cursed. Not with death, but with the unbreaking womb, a spiritual condition that ensured any man who touched her with desire or love would die within 7 days. Unless she returned to the cult. But Cindy didn't return. She vanished and began doing the unthinkable. She turned the curse into a weapon. Instead of hiding, Cindy began seeking out the very men who had made those dark deals with Nsu Foforɔ. Those who had sacrificed others. Those who had raped the land and bribed their way into power. One by one, she seduced them, and then married them, and let the curse complete the ritual. This time, not for the cult, but for herself. She wasn't the cult's servant anymore. She was its avenger. Delali was electrified. This was the story of the century: corruption, cults, elite deaths, a woman turned executioner. She compiled her footage, testimonies, spiritual documents, Cindy's true identity, and the death pattern into a massive episode titled, Bride of the Black Pact: How Ghana's Richest Men Are Dying. But as the video neared upload, her world flipped. Her laptop disappeared. Her backup drive was smashed. Her apartment was ransacked while she was out filming. And worst of all, her assistant Kwabena vanished. His last message: D, I think they're watching me now. Something's not right with the new guy at the cafe. If I don't show up tonight, call Kojo's mother. Kojo. The dead carpenter. Cindy's true love. Was Kwabena digging into something even deeper? Delali realized too late she wasn't just reporting the story anymore. She was inside it. And the deeper she went, the more she realized. Cindy wasn't the only one cursed. Delali knew she had no more time. The cult was closing in. Her assistant Kwabena was still missing. Her apartment felt watched. The YouTube channel was under silent cyber attack. The truth was like smoke, real, but slipping between her fingers. She had to make her next move count. So she set a trap. A fake wedding. A dangerous setup. One that could either end the curse or prove Cindy's role beyond all doubt. Enter Nana Yor Adjumang, a retired soldier in his early 50s. He was dying from stage 4 colon cancer and had nothing to lose. He had followed Delali's exposé for years and volunteered for the mission with unsettling calm. If this woman is killing men, he said, then let me be the bait. The plan was simple on paper but deadly in execution. Nana Yor would meet Cindy through a staged matchmaking event, fall into a whirlwind romance, propose within days, and marry her in a small private ceremony, all carefully filmed and monitored. He wore a hidden camera in his wedding band, a MIC stitched into his tie, and a subdermal tracker beneath his collarbone. But Cindy didn't suspect a thing. Or maybe she did, and pretended not to. The ceremony was beautiful and strange. Cindy wore white for the first time, but laced with red embroidery. Her expression through the whole event was unreadable. She kissed Nana Yor gently, posed for photos, even danced. Then the countdown began. Day 1, Nana Yor was healthy, calm, playful, even. Day 3, he reported strange dreams, visions of a giant bird with 3 eyes watching him from the edge of a lake. Day 5, his MIC recorded whispering in Cindy's voice, but in a dialect that no translator could identify. Day 6, Nana Yor vanished. No signs of forced entry. No calls. His tracker went dead at exactly 11:59 p.m., not far from Labadee Beach. When Delali rushed to the scene with police, all they found was a charred red nightgown, melted into the sand. And beside it, a single burgundy earring. Delali was broken. Her plan had failed. Another man gone. The society remained untouched, invisible, protected. But then, the very next day, Cindy walked into Delali's studio. No announcement. No knock. Just the click of heels and her cold, radiant presence filling the room. She looked untouched by time. Her skin flawless. Her hair braided tightly, face bare but glowing. She wore black again. Of course. Without a word, she placed a small silver flash drive on Delali's desk. You wanted the truth, Cindy said. Her voice was low, calm, controlled. Here's all of it. Delali stared. What's on it? Evidence. Of what they are. What they made me. What they've done. To me. To Ghana. She paused. Publish it, and watch Ghana burn. Then she left. Delali loaded the drive with trembling fingers. What she saw was a digital confession of national rot. Hidden camera footage from initiation ceremonies with politicians pouring blood into calabashes while chanting to unseen spirits. A judge on his knees, begging to retain his seat after sacrificing his own nephew. A gospel pastor, nationally revered, caught on tape orchestrating the spiritual assignment of a rival preacher. A file labeled Project Cindy, showing Cindy, drugged and weeping, being dressed in ceremonial cloth and married off to a government official in a secret shrine. And then, footage of Nana Yor. Not dying. Not dead. Alive. But changed. His eyes pitch black. His voice deep and inhuman. Chanting. The screen cut to black. Delali didn't sleep that night. She called her team. They debated for hours. If they aired it, it could destroy legacies, spark riots, maybe even get her killed. But if they didn't, Cindy's story would disappear again. So she uploaded it. 48 minutes of raw horror, truth, corruption, and ritual. The exposé broke the internet. Within 2 hours, government buildings were surrounded by protesters. Within 4, the Attorney General called for an investigation. Within 6, Delali's name was trending globally. And then, silence. Because the next morning, Delali was found unconscious in her studio. Pulse slow. Barely breathing. And on her chest, under UV light, appeared a faint black mark, a bird with 3 eyes. She had crossed the line. And Cindy? Gone. Her apartment was cleared out. No forwarding address. No trace on her bank cards or phone. But the country would never forget her. Because over the next few months, reports began flooding in from across Ghana, women in red nightgowns, seen standing at the bedsides of powerful men. Always at midnight. Always silent. Always gone by morning. And the men? Some disappeared. Some died. Some confessed secrets that shattered careers. Cindy had disappeared, but her vengeance had multiplied. Whatever curse she carried, she had passed it on. And Nsu Foforɔ? It was no longer a secret. It was a reckoning.